Hey guys, what's up? Excoundrel here. We are going to be diving into the high-end version of the Bleeding Edge build to do 160 level rifts plus expeditions, the same thing. Essentially, we're going to go through, again, my new skill tree. We're going to go through our gear recommendations, stat recommendations for the changed up stats, as well as also going through the new skills. I am running Warpath, which is hilarious, and you'll see me talk about this later on, but I just find this absolutely hilarious. How ridiculously fast you go with that skill. It is just overwhelmingly funny. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to start off with the skill tree, so enjoy. Alright guys, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to try and zoom in just a little bit actually. I'm zoomed in as far as I can go. Okay, well hopefully you can see this. We're going to start off coming down the soldier tree, and we are going to pick up all of these nodes here to pick up the wild card. Then what we're going to do is we are going to come over here and pick up Attrition Strategist. We are going to dive down here. Now, early game, it might be worth taking these 4 nodes here, but I don't feel like I need them right now because I've got to the later stages of the game. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to pick up the lifesteal. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come here and you're going to pick up the rage generation on kill, which is really important. Then we are going to dive into this tree and we're going to pick up dire Juncture plus the extra health that you're going to get from that. We're going to come over this way and we're going to pick up extra ailments. We're also going to pick up our furious appetite from Child of Fury. Then we're going to dive into clarity of mind and we're going to pick up our important keystones here. And we're going to take these 2 right here, and we're going to come over and we're going to pick up Clandestine Execution, which gives us 25% extra damage versus bosses, which is really important in high-level rifting. Then, when you're getting to the rifting stage and you have a good 2-handed weapon, you're going to want to pick up the attack speed. That will make things much easier for you. And finally, oh, not actually finally. Oh, so then when we're at this stage, we're going to come down here. So come to this bit first. We're going to come and pick up the Merciless Lethality, which is a really important node. And then with our remaining points, we're going to dive over here and pick up Duty to Exterminate. Now, I feel like I've missed some points off somewhere. We've got this one, we've got this one. Double checking. Ah, yes, of course I have. These 2 over here. Finally, we come into Time Witch Cannot Help. This is actually only really important in higher level rifts. You're not going to need most of this because most enemies in the lower level rifts or lower level expeditions are going to die before 1.5 seconds, and your tree should look something like this. This node is actually very important because you've got Child of Frenzy, which gives you Frenzy Blows. So once I get 2 extra skill points, I'm going to pick up an extra 200 from these 2 here. And then, once I'm done with this, I'm either going to head down into Siegebreaker to pick up Salvatory Anchor, which will give me essentially some extra resistances on my helm and on my chest piece, and then I'll dive over here and I'll pick up Kingless Aegis to pick up the block. The block is actually almost insignificant at this point in time, though. Most of your defenses comes from this node here, Dire Juncture, plus any of the lifesteal that you pick up. You could then also pick up Bestial Frenzy if you wanted for the extra damage in an area. That is our current skill tree. Okay, guys, I told you I would show you my stats, so let's start with those. That's my skills. That's the wrong button. Alright, let's have a look at the stats. So you can see I've got 1,104 toughness, 400 ferocity. In terms of stats that I actually allocated, I allocated about 75% toughness and 25% ferocity. Really, you just want to get between 1,000 and 1,400 attack critical chance score, which you can get from both ferocity additions and also on your equipment, which I'll show you in a moment. And mostly we're just looking for as much health as possible. Toughness becoming our primary stat really helps us with itemization. The reason being is that we get a 0.5% total bonus damage from every point of toughness that we put in. So every 10 points of toughness that we put in every time we level up, we can get a 5% damage boost as well. Some people wanted to see my stats. Really, the only thing that I think that matters is my health right now is about 180k, which is a really good health pool to work with at the high level expeditions. Average damage is 13,270, but obviously the most important thing is my critical strike chance and my critical strike chance multiplier, or my damage multiplier, which is 308%. Okay, so those are my stats. Hopefully that helped you out. Let's have a look at my skills now. Let's have a look at my gear now. Right, let's bring up the gear. Okay, so when it comes to your weapon, you are looking for, as a priority, damage, total damage, the total damage that you see at the top of the weapon, that is a priority. Take it in any form that you can get. The higher, the better. However, a lot of your itemization will be prioritizing material damage. So if you can have damage focused on physical, rend, and toxic, you have got an incredible weapon on your hands. Unfortunately, a lot of my damage comes from fire and frost, but that's perfectly okay. I still have a top end of 800 damage, which is absolutely insane. You then want to roll 3 offensive 1 sockets if possible, and then you want to socket them with all rend damage. That's what I've done anyway. And then you're looking for life leech, and then you're looking for any kind of supportive stats on your weapon. Life leech is the most important though, because it allows you to generate a huge amount of HP back. But I've got attack critical chance score, which is fantastic. That's an absolutely wonderful addition to this weapon. This weapon's pretty good. The damage is mediocre, I would say, for high-end rifting. But so high-end, I keep saying rifting, high-end expeditioning. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it? But I'm looking to improve that. I can socket it with better gems later on down the line. Okay, let's move on to leg plates and chest plate. You are looking for damage percentage, either in the form of total damage or material damage. You are looking for transfer time reduction between willpower and rage. That's a really important stat, and I will show you why and what that means in just a moment, because not a lot of people know what that actually means, but we'll go through it in just a moment. You want to look for toughness, and then you want to look for any associated toughness stats, and then you're looking for anything that maybe supports things like critical strike. But realistically, the 3 most important stats: toughness and any kind of related toughness stats like extra health or resistances, transfer time reduction between willpower and range, and then extra percentage damage. And then you want to roll 2 defensive 3 sockets on your leg plates and 3 defensive 3 sockets on your chest plate. And you want to socket them with the maximum amount of health you can get. That comes in the form of topazes, it comes in the form of copper stones, and there's another one that gives 1,000 health. But basically there are 3 different, silver stones. There are 3 different stones that give you 1,000 health at the maximum level. That's what you're looking for at the high-end rifting. Boots. These are unique. You are looking for toughness, damage, and move speed, and then anything that would support your build otherwise. But your 3 priorities are any kind of extra damage percentage, toughness, and move speed. Remember, every point of toughness that we get on our gear also gives us percentage damage increase. So 65 toughness that I pick up on my boots, you divide it by 2, I'm going to get 32.5% extra damage on top of the 24% damage that I've already got, because toughness is my primary stat. It's giving me both HP and damage percentage, which makes it very strong. Let's move on to my gauntlets, and spolders are very similar. We are looking for, as you guessed it, toughness as a priority, and then something called rage and willpower cost reduction. Rage and willpower cost reduction is a really important stat because it helps keep the cost of your bleeding edge low, and that is especially important when you're running this node, frenzied blows, which increases the damage or the rage cost of the bleeding edge by 100% when it's over 750 rage total. So you definitely want to have rage and willpower cost reduction. And then you're looking for percentage damage increase as well. I've got material damage here. I do not have it on this one. And then you're looking for any defensive stats, or you're looking for critical strike supplementation, which you can see on my critical hit chance score here. If this one was better, I would have a percentage increased damage. If I had percentage increased damage, I would be nigh on perfect stats for my gauntlet. The perfect stats would be percentage increased damage, rage and willpower cost reduction, toughness, and then also critical hit chance score. That would be fantastic. Helm, you are looking for percentage damage, transfer time reduction between willpower and rage. You're looking for toughness, so as you can see, my helm is not perfect right here, and then any supportive toughness stats, a little bit like your chest plate and leg plate. And then you want 1 defensive 3 socket, so you can socket with maximum HP. Alright, so we've covered everything except for the jewellery and the belts. The jewellery and the belts, I'm going to actually go over to this one because this is a pretty good example. No, it's not. This is a pretty good example. Here you go. Okay, so what you're looking for on the jewellery and belts is any plus damage to attacks that is material. So you're looking for rend damage, toxic damage, and physical damage. You're then looking for any extra toughness or maximum health. So in this case, I've got toughness and maximum health, and then anything that will supplement either defensive or offensive capabilities. Attack critical chance score is fantastic, and then I've got occult resistance score as well. This amulet is actually pretty good for me. I would say this is a good example of a piece of jewellery that you're looking for, and then you want a support 3 slot, and you want to slot an amethyst in there to give you transfer time reduction between willpower and rage. I'm now going to briefly explain and show you what transfer time reduction between willpower and rage actually does and means. So let's take a quick example. I am going to spam Bleeding Edge. Look at how quickly my rage transfers to willpower. Now, you might think that is a bad thing, but I'm just going to quickly take Rage Potion. What I want you to pay particular attention to is the small grey bar that appears between the Rage bar and the Willpower bar as my Rage is transferring to Willpower. Watch again. See that grey bar that is going down very quickly? If you do not have much of this stat, transfer time reduction between Willpower and Rage, I want you to do the same exercise here, and you will see that the grey bar exists for longer and stays there for longer and also goes down longer. That bar are resources that is locked. Those resources are absolutely locked when they're locked in that grey bar. That means they cannot regenerate back into rage, and so therefore you have useless resources. It's essentially capping your rage as it transfers to willpower. By reducing that grey bar and therefore freeing up these dead resources, you will then allow them to either be transferred back to rage naturally, or through rage generating skills, or through a rage potion. Essentially, what that does is gives you the willpower to transfer back to rage more quickly. If that grey bar is there, or it's like a brownie bar, I guess, if that bar is there, that is basically bottlenecking how much rage you can actually regenerate, because that grey bar essentially gives you dead resources. So by having it transfer to willpower more quickly, you can actually regenerate your rage more quickly and maintain high levels of rage, and therefore make most use of frenzied blows, and also allow you to keep yourself active and going when you're actually getting through the expeditions. That is what that stat means, and that is why it is very important at high level rifting especially. We've done stats, we've done items, and we've done skill tree. Let's take a look at the skills now. You'll notice that I've actually changed things up. I've got rid of Juggernaut and added in Warpath. I will show you why in a moment, because it's absolutely hilarious. Let's start off with Sovereign Shout. Not much different here from what you saw the other day. The most important thing is just giving yourself as many buffs as possible with this, but also applying weakness stacks. This is the setup that I've got right here. You're looking for Wings of Ishmir. The most important ones for me are Stun Chance and also Twisting Harbinger, so you draw everybody in and stun them. And then you're looking for the buff as well. So these three are the most important. The rest you can play with. Warpath. I haven't actually max leveled this yet, so I don't even know what I'm going to do on this. I might as well just give weapon damage right now, because the other one's kind of useless. The only one that really matters here, or the two that matter here, is Forger Path, which allows you to channel the skill, and then you also want to have the one that grants yourself a buff when you impact enemies, and you also want to grant rage. So the three here, you grant rage while attacking. I mean, those are the most important, basically, for Warpath. You've seen Tracker's Reach before. The most important is Arresting Claw, and then also Unrelenting Hunt to pull everybody in. You need to have Mercy Caged. The reason you need to have Mercy Caged, and this is actually really important, is when you are going up against units that are not affected by the pull. So I'm talking about bosses, I'm talking about some elite enemies, I'm talking about things like those stupid cannon beasts, the one that fire the electric, I can't remember what they're called. If they are not affected by the pull, they will not get affected by Arresting Claw's stasis chance, and that actually reduces your damage. So by not having any weapon damage on your Tracker's Reach, you actually can't apply stasis to the boss through this method, and therefore you're actually going to reduce your DPS on the boss by a significant amount. So you actually need the weapon damage in conjunction with stasis to actually apply it to bosses. So that's really important. And actually, we've changed Bleeding Edge up. Essentially, it's very much the same. These three are the most important, so Unstoppable Momentum, Astral Orbit, and a Despotic Perseverance. And then I'm adding critical damage, of course, and then I'm actually adding health regeneration. So you're going to actually leech a little bit of health when dealing damage, which is going to help you versus high-level bosses, especially when you've got a HP pool like I have of 180k. So, those are all the skills. I kind of want to show you why I added Warpath right now, by the way, because it's actually hilarious. Ready? It's just so ridiculous how quickly you can get around. Unfortunately, the maps aren't very straight, so actually making use of this skill can be really hard. But oh my god, you go quick. Gotta go fast, boys. Gotta go fast. And Warpath definitely allows you to go fast. Alright boys, I really hope you enjoyed this guide. I will show you some high-level rifting on this at some point. I might actually start streaming if that's of interest to anyone. It's really easy, honestly. This build does not take many brain cells to get to work. Essentially, you just need to have the right gear for it, and also the right skill setups. But essentially, what you do is you see a pack of enemies, you warpath in. I then like to jump in to generate rage, and then do this, and then I use Tracker skill to drag everyone in, and I spam that. That's how I clear mobs. It's really easy. Right, cool. Hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video.